Hello, everyone. The market is at an interesting spot today. We're going to take a look at the entire market, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Russell, and the VIX, the large tech stocks. All of that good stuff, we're going to put it all together to see what the next steps are. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the video. First and foremost, the S&P 500 is at a major trendline level of support here. Starting from October 2023, you could see that this has been a major uptrend. We got a tap in August 2024, and now we are back to this level today. So we are closing in on a trend line for almost 2 years. And this is going to be a very interesting spot for the market. Is this going to hold? What's going to end up happening? In the immediate term, we are holding on to some calls overnight, and that expire tomorrow, actually. So I'm expecting a bit of a bounce, some sort of a bullish move into the open. I would be very surprised if we don't, but it is what it is. It's a trade. It's a bit of a risky trade, but this is a pretty solid foundation of a level of support. We have come back and essentially retested prior major levels of support as well. Things are getting clearly overcooked to the downside. Small bounce. Let's see what ends up happening. So this is that for the S&P 500 futures. This is a really major trend line. And now this is the NASDAQ futures. This is the QQQ. You could see that we are trading very comfortably outside of the lower level of the Bollinger Band on the NASDAQ, on the Russell 2000, and on the S&P 500. When this occurs, right? I'm not saying this is an automatic bounce opportunity, but what I'm saying is when in general, when a large ETF or a large tech stock in general is showing extreme weakness like this outside of the lower level of the Bollinger Band, what tends to want to occur is price wants to revert back within the Bollinger Band. Okay, so that is another reason why I'm a bit bullish heading into tomorrow, purely based off of how overextended we are to the downside. The other thing that's sort of hinting at a bit of a bounce or a bullish move is that we are at major support here at 584.50, 585 area. And we've been monitoring these levels for months as well. Every time we get to these 584, 585 areas here, these three white lines, market tends to bounce a bit. So it's going to be interesting to see if that occurs heading into tomorrow morning. Let's see what ends up happening. But regardless, just purely based off of what we're looking at right now, the S&P does look like it can just fall down to the 570s, 575 area. Why not? It could happen, right? So it would only be about like a 7% move to the downside if we did get a pullback to that level. That's entirely possible. But what I personally think market makers should end up doing, so now this is my opinion of what market makers should end up doing, is we should get a bit of a bounce somewhere around here, above 582, 584. We should get a bit of a bounce back to 592, 591 area. From here, many people are going to start being very bullish. And then from here, it would be a really good opportunity to make a new leg lower. That's essentially what I would really enjoy happening. And that's one of the reasons why we entered into calls, is because I think, this would make the most sense for market makers. We can't just continue capitulating into new lows, red candle after red candle after red candle, the way that we are. And there needs to be some sort of a relief. When are people that shorted up here going to take profits on their shorts? It's going to be down at major levels of support. And down at major levels of support is not where you want to start going short. It's not very safe. So that's why I'm expecting a bit of a bounce, a safer opportunity to go short, an opportunity for people to cover their shorts and then get a bit of a bounce and a move lower. That's what I'm assuming is going to end up happening on the overall market. Another big reason why I think that is going to end up happening is because when you look at these large tech stocks, they are starting to get very overcooked to the downside, and we are all at essentially major levels of support. So on Google, we're at the 170 level. On Tesla, we're getting to that 270, 275, 290 level that I was basically saying, and we're at 280 right now. So it's getting there as well. So Tesla's overcooked to the downside. Microsoft, Google, Microsoft as well. Things are getting overcooked to the downside, and we're falling into levels of support. So as well on Amazon, we had a big move to the upside. Not so much on Amazon, but NVIDIA is just reversing back to levels of support that I was saying would be a better opportunity to go long. AMD is continuing to drop down lower as well. This is not where you want to start going short on AMD. It's not where you want to start going short on these large tech stocks. Netflix and Meta as well are showing a bit of a red move after their pop yesterday. And it's normal. So Meta, Netflix still have more room to go to the downside. Apple is also getting close to levels of support. So everything is getting close to an opportunity to bounce. And once again, this is not where you want to start going short. The last thing that I want to show you guys is the VIX. So we've been monitoring the VIX often, right? And the reason why we do that is because the VIX is a very, very good inverse relationship to the market factor that you could look at. So if the VIX is rising, the overall market should be falling. And what we see here is the VIX, like I was showing yesterday, the VIX has more room to go to the upside. The most important thing right now is the upper level of the Bollinger Band on the VIX is rising, okay? As it rises like this, right? So the thing with the Bollinger Bands is you want to see something very overextended either to the upside or the downside on the Bollinger Band, okay? If something is just hugging the Bollinger Band, right, it means that there's still more room to go in that direction. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we're very overextended. So, for example, today, right, this does not necessarily mean we're very, very overextended because the Bollinger Band is also averaging up. Does that make sense? So by tomorrow, the Bollinger Band is going to essentially be where we closed today, essentially, on the VIX. So if the Bollinger Band is up here tomorrow and the VIX opens here, the VIX needs another huge move to the upside for us to even get overextended to the upside, because what is overextended in my eyes on the Bollinger Band is when you're opening and closing outside of the level. For us to open and close outside of the level, for example, like we did on February 25th here, there needs to be a huge move, and the Bollinger Band already cannot be moving up like this. Back when the VIX started to move to the upside like this, the Bollinger Band was not. The Bollinger Band was flat, right? If anything, it was falling lower. Once the VIX started to move upwards, that's when the upper level of the Bollinger Band started to move a little upwards as well. But right now, the VIX is really, the upper level of the Bollinger Band is really skyrocketing. So for us to get overextended, the VIX needs to have a huge move to the upside. I don't personally know if that's going to end up happening. But if it does, it's going to give it a really, really amazing long opportunity. And this would coincide with another leg lower in the overall market. And this would just be pretty interesting to see if the VIX really, really gets overcooked like this. We need to be monitoring the VIX during the day as well, because it really gives a good indication of when market bottoms or market tops occur as well. So if tomorrow, for example, the Bollinger Band is over here and the VIX is trading all the way up here, it's a good opportunity to be bearish volatility. And if you're bearish volatility, that means you are bullish market. So if the VIX is really spiking tomorrow, according to the Bollinger Bands, it's probably a good time to start leaning a bit long intraday as well. So I hope this makes sense. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and I will see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Thank you. Have a good one.